Ready?
It's going.
Oh, it's
Okay, this is our book discussion group because of Winn, Dixie. Why don't you go first, Autumn?
So we're going to start with our summary. The book opens with Opal, this one, a 13-year-old girl who finds a lovable, scruffy orphan dog at the local Winn-Dixie store. Her father, the preacher, has told her she's never allowed to have a dog, even though she's asked many times. But for some reason, when she brings this one home, he just falls in love with it and lets her keep him. So she names him Winn-Dixie. And Opal's just moved into the neighborhood in Florida. She's really shy, but Winn-Dixie, the new dog she has, actually helps her meet all kinds of new people. She meets the librarian, a girl her age named Amanda, Miss Fanny Block, who's considered like the old witch in the town, and she becomes friends with her, Sweetie Pie, a younger little girl, and the Dewberry Boys. Winn-Dixie even eventually helps Opal get a job at the pet store, and by the end of Opal's first summer in Florida, she'd thrown a party to introduce all of her new friends to her dad. But right as it gets started, a thunderstorm scares Winn-Dixie and he runs off. You have to read because of Winn-Dixie to see if Opal can find him.
mysterious.
Okay, so I also have some discussion questions for the book. My first one actually takes place at the end of the book, but I said, what do you think would have happened to Opal if they had never found Winn-Dixie?
I was so worried that's what was going to happen. When I read it, I was like, this is, if it ends, because you know how animal books, that always happens, like something horrible.
Yep.
Like Old Yeller? Oh my gosh.
Yes.
Why did they do that?
And I was like, surely not. So I was relieved, because how would she recover? I mean, he was kind of her lifeline, so.
But then when he ran away, she didn't have an opportunity to bond with her dad. So
True.
that maybe, could have
I
been
think
like
there
the
would have
replacement.
been more bonding between them.
Mhm. But it's really good that they found.
Yeah, because he did kind of start her out on connecting with people, so maybe she would have, been able to continue that, but I was very relieved that he was found. Because as soon as that happened, I was like, I should have seen this coming.
You know something's gonna happen to the dog.
Yeah.
I actually asked someone who read the book first. I was like, this doesn't involve a dog being dead or lost or anything, does it?
Yeah.
And they were like, no, it's okay in the end. So that's why I read it.
That's what we need to know, yeah.
I would not have read it.
But if
No.
Winn-Dixie had left, he probably would have gone on to help someone else. It could have been like
Aw.
a little, like
But
somebody
Dixie
that...
too, the
Yeah.
sequel.
Or,
Because
you know,
of Kroger.
because,
Yeah.
I mean, he could have been there just to start her on her way.
Mhm.
And then,
Like, that was
he
kinda
wasn't
the-
needed anymore.
Right, no one ever thought of it that way.
Aw. Well, I'm still
Yeah.
glad that she found
Yeah,
him.
me
because-
too. But it is sort of nice.
Mhm.
Yeah, my response was along those same lines. I said the whole book was about Winn-Dixie or at least Opal perceiving Winn-Dixie helping her to meet friends. And that whole party at the end, you see this whole system of support she's built up. So, I mean, obviously she would have been distraught, but I think her new friends and the bonding with her dad would have helped her get over it. All right.
You wanna move on?
Well, my second question was Opal realized that her first impression of Amanda, the little girl she first met in the library, was that she was really smug and Opal really didn't like her at all. But she realizes that impression might not have been so accurate. So my question was, have you ever misjudged someone?
I think a lot, I can't think specifically, but I do think shyness can come across as, being a snob or being stuck up. I know that's easy to do.
That's what my mom always told me, because I was really shy and I didn't want to say hi to people. She's like, stop acting like you're better than everyone.
And you're like, it's not that.
I'm not. I just don't want to talk to anyone.
Right.
I'm scared. I was really shy as a child too. It's hard to overcome, but I don't think anybody ever said that I was arrogant. But maybe they just didn't say it to my face.
I think you have to also take into account that you never know what's going on in someone's life. So if they're abrupt one day, you can't necessarily hold it against them because they could be having the worst day of their life.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Or something like with her.
Yes.
I mean,
Yeah,
you know,
that's
that
She could be
sad.
going through a
Endured-
trauma.
yeah, tragedy, and then you don't know. And I think especially kids aren't going to think that
Mm-hmm.
deeply, or that since it's all about them, they're like, she doesn't like me, or she thinks she's
Mhm.
better than me, and they don't take into account, you know, what else could be going on. So.
And also on the side of Amanda, she's just a child as well. She doesn't know how to articulate these feelings that she's having, so she just
Right.
comes across as, smug or arrogant or unpleasant.
Because she's just trying
She's
to
just
cope,
sad.
really.
Mhm.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, I think we've probably all done that. Just want to bring up the discussion about it. Do you think there was anything Opal could have done to comfort Winn Dixie during the storm? Because Winn Dixie, throughout the book, would just basically flip out. If it was storming.
I mean, I feel like she tried, and he was almost inconsolable.
Mhm.
I mean, he was totally freaked out. Like her dad said, he has like a
Pathological
pathological
Oh,
fear.
yeah.
I couldn't think of the
Mhm.
word. Yeah,
Mhm.
of thunderstorms. And actually, I'll tie in one of my inferences that with the thunderstorms, one of the things I inferred that maybe it reminded. We don't know anything about his past. We don't know where he came from. So it could be he associates in his little doggy brain thunderstorms with something traumatic that happened to him. Is it just the noise, or was it something else? Because the quotation I wrote down was, I stood up and opened the door, and when Dixie flew through it like something big and ugly and mean was chasing him, like he was just out of his mind, scared. So that was one of the things that I thought of. Was it just the noise, or was it connected somehow to something he'd maybe gone through before?
Well, we had a dog like that growing up. And, when we got her as a puppy from the pound. But when we got her, she wasn't like that. I don't know exactly when she started being scared to death of storms. But at some point, if it stormed, she did exactly what was described in that book. Just, ran.
Lost it.
And it didn't help. You could hold her. You could not hold her. She wanted to be, if she was inside, she wanted to be outside. If she was outside, she wanted to be inside.
She couldn't get away from it.
Right. Yeah, there was nothing, and we tried everything because, we didn't want her to be like that. I think at one point we even tried tranquilizing pills, and that it still didn't help.
Oh my gosh.
And because she would, we weren't always home when it was storming because it would be during the day, and she would.
Oh, and you were just thinking, oh no.
Well, and at some point she completely. Well, we tried all kinds of different things. We tried leaving her outside. She had shelter outside, and she would dig or climb out of everything.
Oh my gosh.
We had one of those 100-foot animal runs because we had a huge yard, but she jumped at. So we had to put her in something smaller, and it was 10 feet tall, and she climbed that. So we put a roof on it. Well, then she dug out. So we put a bottom on it so she couldn't dig out. Well, then she bent back the metal door so that she could squeeze
She's like,
through.
I am getting
She's
out
like,
of here.
no, whatever it takes.
Did you crate her ever? Put her in a crate?
Yeah, and that was actually
Worse?
Well, she wasn't used to being in a crate, which is probably part of the
Mhm.
problem. But actually, I don't know, because she went crazy no matter what. We tried leaving her inside, just in the house, and she ripped apart a sofa, and this is stuff this dog would never do.
Yeah.
And she clawed at the windows, tore up where she was trying to get out. And we put her in a crate once, and she rocked the thing back and forth so much that there were holes in the wall where she was next to it, and we never figured anything out. It was just awful, and I felt so bad for Winn Dixie in this book.
I bet you did.
Yeah, and I kind of thought, I don't know, I was kind of starting to get the feeling when Dixie was a little too good to be true.
Perfect.
Yes, perfect, almost magical quality of, and so it kind of made him real, that he had issues too. I mean, all these people had issues, and then this was his one thing where he wasn't just a fixer. He got scared.
It's just a dog,
It
after
wasn't
all.
Nanny McPhee.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Coming in and making him
Yeah.
better.
Just a dog.